Emblem heroes in FEH do give you the engage specials, and they can also boost up your stats if you have the merges on them. So it is going to be working like the pair up mechanic pretty much, where you can have one engage per emblem hero on a team. And just like Sacred Seals, you can technically have them on multiple units at the same time if you lock that team. For example, in Aether offense, you can have every single team make use of the engage special, so you can Gale Force much better with it, Omni Tank much better with it, or even loop something like Godlike Reflexes a lot easily. So that is a tactic that you should be doing if you wanna optimally take advantage of this. And you can also save the engage specials as part of a scaled set. So this way you're gonna be able to save some time and you'll not have to go and manually engage every single character all of the times when you're gonna be using this for something like Aether offense. And emblem heroes are gonna be vanishing from your barracks if you inherit any kind of skills from them, unlike rearmed and attuned units. So that's why you should be keeping at least one copy of an emblem hero, because this is a completely new mechanic and you can pretty much have every single character with an engage special at some point when we get like a lot of emblem heroes. So that's why saving them up is going to be helpful, and any kind of character can make use of the minus and special cooldown from Emblem Marth. And engage specials are going to be working on both your hands and also in the AI's hands. So this is again going to be something that you can equip on your units in Aether defense, and also for arena if you're going to be, wanting to optimize your arena defense team. And finally, emblem heroes are going to be able to give you extra stats, and this can pretty much give you plus 10 stats if you have a plus and merge emblem hero. They're going to be pretty much the summon only dragon flowers. So this is only really going to be useful if you're going to be plus and merging an emblem hero, or if you're a whale. And for most of the player base, they're not going to be having plus and merge emblem heroes. So it is going to be only a few stat points, but still the stat enhancement is going to be in the same order as the dragon flowers. So at the very least, you're able to get like some extra HP if you have a +1 merge emblem hero in most cases. And emblem heroes are just going to be like mythic and legendary heroes who are going to be appearing at the end of the month. And Emblem Marth does have his emblem effect, which is going to be giving you minus on special cooldown, and it is actually going to be stacking up even with the weapons that already have the slaying effect built in. You can already have 0 cooldown specials like having the Forever Vital Astra, for example, so it is something you can keep in mind. And the drawback of the emblem effect is that you're going to be able to do 8 less damage whenever you trigger your special if you have any kind of brave effect, like from your weapon or from Battle Katria. So they're trying to balance this, but even then, like brave weapon users are still going to be able to trigger stuff like No Quarter a lot easily. And unlike arcane weapons and attune skills, anyone can use these emblem effects. So as you'll see, many units, even with their preferred skills, are going to be able to stand out with this kind of emblem effect. And one of the best users of this emblem effect is definitely going to be Brave Marth himself. Now the reason is that he has Vantage in his weapon, so you can run Null Counter Disrupt and not really be susceptible to Fire Sweep and Wind Sweep effects, and then you can trigger No Quarter without the use of Brave Male Robin, which is a huge thing because it means that you can have another support unit who can give you extra stats, or another effect which can help you tank a lot better in something like Aether offense. So this is pretty much the peak Brave Marth that you can run at this moment. And attack speed to finish is going to be giving you that healing and also the true damage, which is going to be helping as you're going to be triggering No Quarter always. Time Pulse 4 is something you can run so that you can just loop No Quarter as a 1 cooldown special, and that is going to be working really well for his playstyle. And he's easily one of the most unique Vantage and Omni tanking options, because even if your enemy has got Hardy Bearing Sacred Seal, because of the damage reduction of Genesis Falchion, you're still going to be able to survive it many times and then just kill them with your No Quarter, which is going to be piercing through any kind of damage reduction of the enemy. You can also run this on Brave Dimitri because nowadays the nukes have a lot of damage reduction, and you pretty much need the damage reduction piercing if you want to kill them and not get killed by a counter attack of theirs. It has been pretty much the thing with the release of Duo Shamir many months back, so Brave Dimitri is not really as good as he used to be, but this is something that he can do to just make him a lot better as an Omni tank. And now you don't really have to use Time Pulse in your slot C to loop No Quarter. You can easily trigger it because of the special charges of his weapon. And if you do think that guard is going to be an annoyance, then you can still run Time Pulse 4, but Panic Smoke 4 or Inside Attack Speed could be an option that he can run for the Omni tanking. And Legendary Seliph is also an amazing user of this, even though he does have the Brave effect with his Weapon Refine. So I do think that the trade-off is fine because you're still going to be able to pierce through the damage reduction of nukes like Winter Inaka, which is really important. And Hardy Bearing is something that you can run as the Sacred Seal so that you don't really care about the Dispersion nukes. Running Godlike Reflexes has become a lot easier with Emblem Marth special because you can easily loop Godlike Reflexes, especially if you have a -1 special cooldown weapon like Larce, and you also pre-charge your Godlike Reflexes on the first turn because of the Time Pulse built in the Weapon Refine. So that allows you to easily loop Godlike Reflexes because she also has the Null Guard effect with her Weapon Refine, so you can easily run some other Slotsy skill now like Inside Attack Speed instead of running the Pledge Slotsy skill. And Pledge is actually pretty hard to get because it's only available on Legendary Female Leer, so you can try and run Panic Smoke 4 even if you want to run an Omni tanking Slotsy skill. And you can also run this on Legendary Dimitri, and he can easily charge up Godlike Reflexes for the arena usage with Infantry Pulse 4 and loop it because of the tempo effect built in his Weapon Refine. And because he can pierce through the damage reduction, it also makes him as a pretty solid Omni tank, and he's a lot better now after his Refine and Remix. And many units who couldn't really run Godlike Reflexes before can do it now because they can have the 2 cooldown Godlike Reflexes, which they can loop with the Pledge Slotsy skill and pre-charge it with Buffer 4. And Shannon is going to be one of those units because he wants to stack up his speed for the damage reduction, and he doesn't really have any kind of unpierceable damage reduction, so Godlike Reflexes is a really good option. So it is something that he can do on many of these older units who don't really have the -1 special cooldown weapon. This Emblem effect also makes many of the inhittable weapons as a pretty nice alternative to having an arcane weapon, because the main reason you'll run arcane weapons many times is because of their -1 special cooldown. So for example, here we've got Dragonstone Plus, which does have the flat damage reduction, which you can stack up with Counter Roar 4 and retaliate back with Glimmers, which are going to be doing a lot of damage because of the damage reflection. So you can run this instead of Arcane Grima and just have much better weapon and also get the full null follow-up effect at the same time. You can also use this on many of the bow units to trigger Miracle a lot easily with something like Golden Yule Bow Plus. So it is going to be a weapon that is going to be seeing usage, especially on these armor bow units, and you can just trigger Miracle and be a lot more annoying with the damage reduction of Weaving Fighter. Of course, it is going to be a bit different option than Armored Flow or Armored Beacon, but I do think that this is something you can pull off, and then healers are going to be having a field day with having -1 special cooldown because that is something that they're missing. And like I said, we can just have any other inhittable weapon now and run this emblem effect so that we can get the -1 special cooldown. So until we get some kind of arcane staff, this is something that you can run on many of the infantry healers, especially because Wrathful Tempo is something that they have access to, and also the finish skill for the true damage and the healing. So you can just run Holy Panic or Lights Restraint and pretty much have a 1 cooldown special, which you can trigger on your double attack. And this is also really helpful for AoE nuking because someone like a Tune Nino is basically going to be able to have instant AoE special without the use of Quick and Pulse Sacred Seal and run double life and death. And you can also get the true damage out of Special Spiral 4, so it can be helpful for summoner duels where you're going to be having these kinds of AoE units, and many of the Cavaliers and Flyers don't really have an easy access to the pulse effects with something like Infantry Pulse, so they can easily run the AoE special, especially if they can get the true damage on their AoE hits, like Kadean Lind for example with her weapon. So Kadean Lind is often used with many of the cavalry teams in summoner duels on the trench maps, so there she can just, add to the offensive prowess of your team by running this kind of AoE special. And many melee Cavaliers can also run this. Alfred does get the extra attack, which is helpful for the AoE nuking, so it is something that he can run. And then you can also run this for the melee nuking because Diamant is easily going to be able to get the Ignis on his attack with his weapon and Time Pulse 4. Tamara also nukes really hard with her weapon, so No Quarter is going to be a special that you can loop with Time Pulse 4 in her base kit. And Brave Tiki is going to be getting a weapon refined this year, and she can pretty much retaliate back with Glacies, which are going to be doing a lot of damage, and you can always run her with Legend Camilla so that you can get the damage reduction shredding. And then you can also run this on many of the Brave weapon users because like I said before, even if they're going to be doing 8 less damage on their special attacks, they're still going to be able to trade off the drawback just for triggering a lot more powerful specials. So Duo Sonaki can trigger Iceberg on her Brave attack. You can also trigger No Quarter really easily with someone like Harkin, even against the guard foes. And you can also run this on Legendary Female Shaz and Pern so that you can trigger Lethality on your double attack. And the Tempo Force skill is going to be giving you the damage reduction shredding on your first attack where you don't really trigger Lethality. So even if these units have Brave weapons, they are still going to be able to make use of this. And you can also run this on a unit like New York Cavalier who does have a hard time triggering her special, which is high cooldown. So this can make it a lot easier for you to trigger her special, which is important for her playstyle, and it is something that she can do being an infantry unit. You can also run this on many of the Arcane Darkbow Flyers and Cavaliers because they don't really have any kind of Time Pulse 4 to be run in their kit, so they can just run this and have a 1 cooldown Deadeye that they can trigger on their double attack. And it goes really well with the Desperation effect of Arcane Darkbow, and you can also stack up the pre-combat damage. You can also run some fun Special Spiral 4 and Ether builds, and Fargus is going to be an amazing free double unit who can do it because he does have -1 special cooldown weapon, and he also has the full tempo effect built in. So it is going to be enabling him to retaliate back with Ethers that are going to be piercing through the damage reduction. So this is something that is possible on many of the units, but Fargus can do it a lot better because of this weapon. And in Ether Raid's offense, this is going to be really helpful for many of the Gale Force teams because you've got someone like Garrick who can have a 2 cooldown Gale Force with his weapon, and he can support a lot of his allies, and he can make really good use of this because he doesn't really have a -1 special cooldown weapon, so this can work really well with Infantry Pulse 4. And Asker is going to be a staple on the Gale Force teams in the light season, so he's easily a unit who you can make use of this with Cook and Pulse and his Slotsy skill. So he's pretty much the Garrick of the light season, and he is going to be able to get the full tempo effect by transforming and easily triggering Gale Force as a 1 cooldown special without really relying on Heavy Blade's attack checks, which in my opinion is a huge burden off of your head. You can also use this on many of your AoE initiators. Brave Galvik does come to mind, and I use her quite a lot as an AoE nuke. So I basically use her with Duo Chrom and then pre-charge her special, and now it is going to be even faster because of this emblem effect. And it's not really all that easy for her to get the pulse effects being a flyer, so this is going to be really helpful for the AoE build. You can also run this on many of the armor units that don't really have a -1 special cooldown weapon, so this allows you to retaliate back with Armored Blaze or Armored Beacon. And then Valentine Lucina is a popular Summoner Duels unit because of getting the extra action out of Future Vision, and she was recently part of the Holoforms as well. And then you can also run this on many of the flying units so that you can retaliate back with No Quarters, which are going to be piercing through the damage reduction. So Ingrid is one of the few units with a really good slotty skill who can make use of Distant Counter Melee Sacred Seal. And then we have got Chloe with her flat damage reduction based on her resistance, and also Carmack, who does have the Null Guard effect and the -1 special cooldown weapon. So No Quarter is going to be a 1 cooldown special that you can retaliate back with. And a lot of these flyers are just not going to be running Gambit because they have the -1 special cooldown. You don't really want to be running Gambit with this emblem effect because it is going to be counterproductive with Gambit's effect. So Guard Bearing 4 is going to be the ideal slot B skill. I did try to go over many of the units who can make use of this, but if I missed any, let me know in the comments, and I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, then make sure to leave a like and a comment. Helps tremendously, and if you really enjoyed, you could always support me directly by using super thanks down below or by becoming a YouTube member. And for more videos, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell because YouTube sub boxes are about as functional as this emblem effect along with Gambit. So with that said, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.